Welcome back to Two Witches Talking. I'm Megan, and I am here with my co-host, the lovely Morgan.
Hello.
Hello. How are you this week?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Going with the flows. We actually had rain the other day. I know we had one glorious day of thunderstorms, and now it's supposed to be in the hundreds and humid. So,
ooh, yeah, I'm definitely faring better than you. We had a cold front overnight, which brought in like flash flooding, thunderstorm, all this, but it was 66 degrees this morning on my morning walk. I was like, yes, I was actually chilly.
I don't even do morning walks because when I wake up at 5:45, 6 o'clock, it's already like 70 something, and I'm like, no.
I don't have a choice. I have a doggo that wants to go on walks. So yeah, we get earlier and earlier in the mornings, I will say, as it gets hotter. Because I'll wake up and it'll be 70, 80 degrees, in the summertime. So yay.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, we're enjoying it.
Yeah, no, I would too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How are you doing?
I'm good. I love how we're both like in like lacy kind of things today. Mm-hmm. And we've got like our little necklace stacks and we're all like divine feminine today. I'm loving it so much.
And we don't even coordinate that kind of stuff.
We don't. I know. I'm like, ooh, okay. We just kind of felt the same vibe today.
Yeah, we did.
That's very cool. And I'm excited about today's episode topic because I kind of came up with this idea and then you were like, ooh, and can I add this? And I'm like, yes, let's do all the things. So today's topic is on intuition. And I was kind of tapping in this morning as I was getting ready. I was like lotioning up, doing my glamour magic. And I was like, what are we going to talk about today? And your Nigerian scammer account popped into my head. What is it called? It's Morgan's Psychic Realm? Is that it?
Yes, it is. It's but again, when we're going to talk about discernment, the actual page URL is like facebook.com/ITUA spell solution, Atua spell solution, because it used to be called Dr. Atua's spell solution. Yeah. And they got, I don't know what happened, but they didn't bother to change the name. So again, discernment. I know we'll talk about that, but yeah, but it is. It's called Morgan's Psychic Realm.
Yeah. So if you see this account, it is not Morgan. On Facebook, it's not me. It is not. It is not Morgan. It is not, and not associated with IGC in any way. But yeah. So I was thinking about that, and I was like, like, what about discernment? And then how discernment goes hand in hand with intuition. Because I think a lot of times on podcasts like this, we talk about intuition, trusting your intuition, testing your intuition. But there's also witchy discernment. And in the case of the Nigerian scammer, Morgan will never, and I will never, for that matter, start any sort of message with grand rising. No. And we will not reach out to you to say, oh, I felt like you needed a reading. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Or your ancestors talked to me. Your ancestors told me to contact you. Mm-mm. Like, nah, my ancestors talk to me too much. I don't need it. Other people's ancestors aren't coming in.
Yes. That's the thing, too. If ancestors want to talk to you, they're going to talk to you. Like, they're not going to go find somebody else to say, hey, I need to talk to Morgan. Could you let her know? No, that doesn't happen.
No, we don't play. The ancestors don't play phone tag, or what is it? The telephone with like the two cups, with the string, like when we were kids. Yes. That's not how ancestors work.
No, they don't. No. And depending on the ancestor, they might just like give you a little psychic slap. So, so that's today's topic is discernment and intuition. And we're also going to talk a little bit about, when we trust our intuition and maybe sometimes when we didn't trust it and wish we had.
Yep.
But I think you have a really fun story with your recent trip to the casino. And I do love this so much. Would you tell everybody about it?
Yes. Okay. So Colin and I had Kevin Hart tickets. On the way to the casino where Kevin Hart was playing, we found out that he had postponed the trip until October. So we had a weekend at the casino that was paid for. And so Saturday morning, we lost money Friday night. That's the fun, And when Colin and I, please understand, we're not gamblers. So that's the first thing. We only, we'll take out an X amount of money that we know we're comfortable losing. And that's it. That's all we play with. Yeah. So Friday night, we had a little bit of fun. We had a really nice dinner. Did not win any money, lost money. So Saturday morning, I meditated. And I charged my little Orire Lucky Quartz crystal necklace, which I am wearing today. I charged it, had Colin charge it too. It was really fun.
Nice.
And that was it. We go down to the casino floor and I'm walking around, holding my necklace. And like, it felt like somebody, it was like a magnet was pulling me from my gut, like almost my solar plexus area. Or I would be walking by something and I would just get this like spidey sense in the back of my head. And I would turn around and I would sit there and stare at a machine. And I don't know, either yes or no would pop up in my head. Yeah. And I would and so that was it. But there was one called Hexbreaker that I had spotted the night before. And I told Colin, I was like, I want to play Hexbreaker because it just looked cute.
Right.
And it had little voodoo dolls. And little books of shadows, and it was just super cute. But people were playing it all night. So we go down Saturday, and I'm like, let's start off at Hexbreaker. And so we have a system, and I know when you hear people say they have a system at a casino, run the other direction. But our system is when we hit, even if it's when we hit more than what we've put in, you cash out and walk away. You do not continue to feed the machine, okay? Yeah. So Hexbreaker, it took $100, and then Colin was like, here, take another 100. I'm going to go to the bar. And I'm like, all right. That man walked away and I hit $500.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
And that became the thing of the whole day is like, if I was not winning, Colin would walk away and we would hit.
Oh,
that was the other part of it.
I didn't know this part. This is wild.
It was so funny. Yeah. Because I would literally be walking and I have my, my quartz in my hand and I would just walk around and I'd be like, all right, where are we going? Show me, tell me. So like I said, I would either be drawn like this magnet from my core towards a machine, or I would be walking by something and I would get this, it was almost like the same pull from like almost the back of my head. Mm-hmm. And I would stop and then just focus in on the machine and I would say yes or no. And I would get either a yes or no answer back. And so if it was a yes, I sat down, talked to it. Yes, I know that if you've ever gone to a casino, you see people doing crazy shit at the slot machines, okay? But I'm literally there like, hey, I'm Morgan. I'm a witch. I was told to come play this machine.
Nice.
And we would pop 100 in. And I would sit there and hold my necklace and, keep hitting the button. Yeah. And there was sometimes we'd get down to about $20 and I would start to doubt myself. And I'm like, no, I was drawn to this machine. I was drawn to this machine. And that's when Colin would walk away and I would hit it and we would hit $400 or $500. And so we ended up turning, I think we only lost 300, but we turned that into over 1,600 by the end of the night.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
And there was one that we hit big in Vegas a couple of years ago, and they had the same machine here, and that was a Zeus machine. So I was like, hey, Colin, there's Zeus. There's our old friend Zeus. So I literally sat down and was like, hey, Zeus, do you remember me from Vegas? And started hitting the button, won $400.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Cashed out, walked away. I always thank the machine as well.
Nice.
So I'm thanking the machine, thanking my guides. So like while I'm sitting there and like the little things are going like huge win and jewels are going everywhere. I'm like, thank you so much. Yeah. So gratitude is like a really big part of it. And I will say that we lost on 3 machines. The 3 machines we lost on, I 100% forced it. It was 2 witchy Halloween themed machines. And I was like, oh, I'm a witch. Let's go play that one.
Yeah.
No, Hexbreaker was the only one that actually worked.
Yeah.
And then the third one, I'm not even kidding you. I had that feeling and Colin was at the bar. And so he's like, all right, where are we going? And I'm like, we're going over to Kronos. And he was like, all right. I was like, that's what it is. We get over to Kronos and a woman was sitting there and she hit big. And I was like, you took it.
Oh no.
But she didn't have a method. So she took the $500 she won and just kept hitting the button, lost all of it.
Oh no.
And that's when I was like, well, let's go play it anyway, because I had the feeling, we lost $100 because the feeling was right then and there. And as we were walking over to it, another woman had sat down and she did win $500 and then lost it all because just for those that do gamble, when you hit you put in whatever you put in.
Yeah.
When you make above that, cash out and walk away.
Yeah.
So you hit that little mini jackpot of like $200, $300.
Yeah.
Fucking cash out, walk away, go find another machine. That is the key.
Nice. Good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So.
Wow. And there was one you said that had white horses on it.
Yes,
right?
We just literally were walking down a corridor and I looked over. It was called Horses for Helios was the name of the game. Mm-hmm. But it had like all these white horses and I was walking by and I stopped and I looked over and I looked at Colin and I said, Colin, white horses for Rhiannon. And he goes, I don't know what that means, babe, but do you want to play it? I said, Rhiannon is one of my matron goddesses, like my main one, and she's represented by white horses. And he goes, okay, so do you want to play? And I was like, yeah. So we sat down, I hit the button 4 times and we won $400.
Wow.
And I literally had a group of people around me. I had a gentleman come sit right next to me to play the machine, right? Like he got really close to me and I was just sitting there like, are you trying to get my mojo? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, probably.
Because he wasn't looking at his screen. He kept looking at my screen. And like, because I also laugh. And I think like the whole entire time I was laughing and giggling and saying thank you. And I was just in that pure state of joy and gratitude because like that's how you build your intuition too. Like you get those intuitive bumps, you trust them. And then when something happens, you celebrate it so much. And that not only builds that gut feeling to where, like, for me, it was a physical sensation where I was being pulled towards machines.
Yeah.
And I think it was like thinking about it now, the fact that I was laughing and that pulling was coming from the same place that laughter comes from.
Yeah.
Definitely not a coincidence, you know?
Yeah.
And I was just giggling like a little schoolgirl, and my husband was just sitting there in complete disbelief. Like, I can't believe she did this again. Yeah. And I'm like, I know, I can't either. And then we would go on to try and eat somewhere, and I would just be like, Orbs of Atlantis, I want to play that. And he's like, okay, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. That's amazing. Oh my God, I love that. Well, and to your point too, like all those muscles that you laugh with and all that, that's your solar plexus and your sacral chakra, like those places of power and creativity. So couldn't let that go by without mentioning it.
Yes. And magic. Magic, definitely. That's where all of that lives.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh, I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun weekend.
Yeah. So what I love about that story is that you actually also mentioned that there were the 3 machines that you kind of forced it on.
Yeah.
Right. And so, you know, it's like when we think about like intuition and discernment and all that, like so often our brain just like totally gets in the way and is like, let's do the thing. Let's do this instead. That intuition, that intuitive hit is way too gutsy. That is way too brave. There's just no way, you know, and our brain will like try to reason it out. Right. And, you know, a lot of times our brain will try to reason it out based on what we actually want. So it's like if, you know, you come across, let's say a store or a reader online or whatever, and you're like, this is so cool, like, and you really want that clarity, sometimes your mind and your brain will just try and outlogic your gut, because your gut would be like, no, this is not a good idea, but you're like, oh, but I want it and I can do it. And so I think that's where some of that discernment comes in, right? To say, well, is my gut telling me to do this or not?
Yes.
You know. So,
I had it explained to me, or I think for me, starting to trust my gut a lot. I had to have it explained a certain way that
interesting.
I would love to share because it might open up a lot. Yeah. So your intuition is actually your future self pointing you in the right direction.
Ooh.
And that's when, so if you, and I understand this is like, sometimes when this stuff is explained, even I roll my eyes and go, okay. But if you start to look at, I will just briefly say the words like timelines and, we're not going Marvel here. We're not, but if you understand the concept of time and things, like desires don't live in you unless your future self has basically already achieved them and is kind of allowing, like your future self is saying, hey, you want to do this. Hey, this is the right direction to where you want to go. Hey, you should go over this way. Don't go that way. Go this way. Yeah. And when it was explained to me in that concept of like, because I guess I always thought my intuition was like your inner voice, but like, I guess I never really questioned what it was, but it was just weird. And it was like, oh, so I'm just supposed to get this gut feeling and then go with it. Like, where does the gut feeling come from? And I know some people think it's, guides and stuff, and they can help too. But I guess when it was explained to me in the way of sometimes your intuition is your future self saying, hey, this is the path to what you want. Yeah. And go this way because they've already achieved it. They've already been there. They've already gotten it. They've already done that thing. So they're trying to be like, hey, make sure you take this route because you're going to get here faster. Yes. So I guess when it was explained to me like that, I was like, shit, I really like that.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for maybe our Taurus listeners who need to be a little more grounded in something you can put your finger on, I always like talking about intuition in terms of the fact that we have, so neurons are brain cells, but we have millions of them in our gut. Like we now know, like we have neurons, brain cells that are in our brain, they run down our spine, they're in our gut. And it's like our body knows things that our brain hasn't even thought of yet. And so sometimes it's like, because there's definitely been situations where like it felt like spiritual intuition, and then other times it felt like gut instinct intuition, like something in this space is unsafe for my body to be in. And so I always like to look at intuition as well. I love the future self thing because I buy into that too. But also like it can be from various sources, right? So sometimes it is your body is picking up on something in the environment and has a wisdom that we can't process yet.
Instinctual,
right?
like
yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's our guides, sometimes it's our future self, right? And I think the more we tap in, I mean, you're talking about you're charging your crystal beforehand, right? So you're enchanting a piece of jewelry that's going to help you. You are then thanking the machines, thanking your guides, working with like the energy of the space. Like yours is like, that was a multifaceted approach, right? So I think intuition is the same way. It is like all of these different parts of it come together to create this blanket term of intuition.
I agree. And it's, our body holds on to things too from, I mean, I believe from past lives as well. So, I mean, the whole concept of fight or flight and, the witch wound as well, like there's just part of us physically that was like, oh, we've been here before. Danger, danger. Like maybe not in this lifetime or maybe in this lifetime. And like our brain as a coping mechanism may have blocked something out, but your body's like, no, red flag, fucking get out.
Yeah.
And that's that gut punch where or even you walk into a situation and you all of a sudden feel at home because you've been there before, or you've experienced even maybe in childhood, and you may not have the memories of it because your brain is just always moving, always working, but your body remembers that comfort. Your body remembers and stores certain sensations, whether good or bad. Mm-hmm. So, and that can also, go into gut. I love that too.
Yeah. Yeah. And then to kind of come back to that topic of discernment, then I think it's like when you have this intuitive hit, no matter where it's coming from, it's like what you do after it, I think is where that comes in. Like, do you follow your intuition? Do you look at it in a discerning way to say, hey, am I getting this intuitive hit because it's really an intuitive hit? Or is it maybe a fear, right? Or is it maybe I don't know, had way too many Diet Cokes today and I'm amped up on caffeine, like whatever it is, right? And then, you act from there. So, just having that kind of in place as well to just check and make sure that it's not something bad or fraudulent or harmful, if you follow it.
Yeah, and that's where getting in touch with your body, your emotions, your spiritual side. Like, I'm a huge advocate for holistic living and holistic, treating something from a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual standpoint. But the more that you get in tune with all of those aspects of yourself, then the more you can start to discern, like, something happens and you're like, oh, these are my spidey senses going off, or maybe that fish wasn't good,
Right.
You start to be able to figure that out because you know yourself and you know your body, and you know that, like for me, I now know what that pull is. Yeah. So I know what that feels like now. So the next time, so I bookmarked it and like filed it away, Yeah. I've built evidence. So the next time I have that magnetic pull, I'm going to 100% trust it because the evidence I've built up is that, the last time I had this feeling and I trusted it, this happened. Yeah. So that's where getting to know your body and yourself and your path and all of that helps out so much to discern between bad sushi and, should I take another path home? Right. You're driving and you're like, oh my God, I should not take my regular path home. Why am I getting that feeling?
Yeah. Well, and see, that's the key with intuition is not only like listening to yourself, learning yourself, but also just trusting that you may not know why you shouldn't take that path home, and you may never know. And just going a different way home and nothing notable happens, you're good. You're safe. Because there's been times where I learned to trust my intuition several years ago after just like not listening to it for a while, or I don't know. I was gaslit as a kid and then as a young adult, and like I had to relearn how to trust myself. And so there was just one day and I can't even tell you what happened. There was one day where I was like, I think I should do this instead. And I did that instead. And it ended up being a more positive outcome. And it wasn't like, oh my God, Megan won the lottery or anything like that. But it was just like a little more positive. And when we start paying attention to those moments and saying, okay, so last time I felt this sensation in my body, or last time that this picture came up in my mind, I did this thing and it worked out. We create that pattern of self-trust. And the more you learn to trust your intuition, the easier it is. Yes. Because you just build that faith and trust up in yourself.
Yeah. And it almost too, there's a large part of belief, blind belief. I hate to say that, but there's a large part of blind belief that goes along with it too. Like when I do tarot readings, I don't do tarot readings in front of the person anymore. So I don't get reactions. I don't get body cues. I don't get anything. So when I have weird shit pop into my head, I just trust it. I'm like, all right, I'm going to tell the person this now. And because I record them. And so it's one of those things where I'm like, and some people give me feedback, some people don't. So I will never know if, randomly saying red bird to a person means a damn thing, or if I just sounded like a crazy person. And I don't care, because that's the hit I got. So I'm going to pass it on. I'm going to pass that message on. And it could mean something. It could not. I may never know. I just have to believe that it meant something, or that I was meant to give the person that message.
Yeah. And I do that a lot in my sessions, especially like my Reiki sessions, or if I go into meditation for somebody else and kind of converse with their spirit team. I mean, a lot of, I'm like, I don't know. Here you go. And, the feedback that I do receive, though, is affirmative feedback, right? Like, it might be a little hard for them to hear. So I don't want to say that it's necessarily positive, but it is. They're like, yeah, no, I know exactly what that is, or who that is, or what's going on there. So, but yeah, you just have to kind of trust.
And push through because your monkey brain will tell you you're crazy. Like, have been there, have done that, like, can confirm your monkey brain. The minute you have one of these weird ass things pop into your head or your gut or whatever, and you're just like, I shouldn't do this, your monkey brain will kick in and be like, you're crazy, go ahead and do it anyway, nothing bad's gonna happen, you're fine. And that's just, you have to tell your monkey brain to shut up. Be like, shut up, I'm following my gut on this one, you be quiet.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Yeah.
I love that. So I know that I brought this topic to the room, but I honestly can't think of a time when I didn't trust my intuition and wish I had, because I think I had so many of those at such a short period of time. Like, I felt really disconnected. So I can't like pinpoint a specific event, but I felt so disconnected for a long time that once I started listening to my intuition, it's got to the point where my family doesn't doubt me. Like, if I'm like, guys, we should not do this thing, or guys, we need to wait a day, they're like, okay, no problem. Like, my family has literally like kicked their shoes off, put the keys down, and sat back down and stayed home, because it has become so strong. But I did not follow it, man. I was in places I shouldn't have been, bars or restaurants that probably, I was like, oh, I shouldn't go in here, and I did, and then I wish I hadn't. Stuff like that. Spent money on things that it was just like an indulgence, and like I knew better, even though I had like plenty of money to do it. And then later I was like, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. Because it was like on sale or something 2 weeks later, or something goofy like that, right? And it's just like, shit, I should have listened to myself, and I didn't. So I decided one day that I'm just going to listen to my intuition. And if nothing happens because I listen to my intuition, then you know what? I don't need to know what could have happened. Yeah. It's not worth it.
No, I definitely do have a story, which I've never shared. I've never shared on my podcast. I've never shared in the coven. I don't think I've ever shared.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, y'all are getting two, because last week I shared. It's actually related to last week. As you can see, there is a part of my life I do not talk about because it's not great. And it's not that I'm pushing it away. It's just because I have healed from it and moved on. So I don't need to bring it up, but I will for this. So in last week's episode, I mentioned that one of my exes is in prison. He is not a great guy. He's a horrible, horrible person. In fact, if I don't wish death upon anybody, but him, yeah. Anyway, our first date, we went to a park, and a friend of mine, I love her to death. A friend of mine got his license plate. Like, this was,
nice.
Like, she got a license plate. She took a picture of his face. She was dropping me off at the park. She's like, just in case she goes missing. I'm like, sorry about my friend, but anyway.
I mean, she knew.
Well,
because you told me this full story, which I'm not going to say out loud here. Don't worry. But you told me this full story, like when you picked me up at the airport, Like, from the airport to the office last year, like, you and I just, like, we, like, trauma dumped a bunch of stories to each other. And we're like, yep, besties forever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she knew.
Yeah. So we were walking around this park for a while and talking and getting to know each other. And I didn't have any bad vibes, you know? I didn't. But I was also very lost at that point in my life. And I was trying to figure out who I was. I had walked away from my spirituality. I'd walked away from my marriage, obviously, because I'm dating. I was very lost. And I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know anything. And so we're on this date in this park, public park, and it's fine. And we're talking and we're getting to know, we're laughing and all that stuff. And it hits that moment where we're face to face. And so he drops his water bottle on purpose and he leans in for our first kiss. And we kiss. And as soon as we're done kissing, I almost passed out and threw up.
Whoa.
Yeah. Like, all of the blood rushed out of me. I almost fainted. My legs got weak and I was like, oh my God, I'm about to throw up, right? And he was like, oh shit, I should take that as a bad sign. And I'm like, no, it's fine. Can you just help me? Like, can you help me walk to a park bench? Because, like, my legs didn't work or nothing. So my 100%, okay, this was my gut intuition telling me to get the fuck away from this guy.
Yeah.
He was horrible. Yeah. Okay. He ended up being horrible. Thank God it didn't start until, I wish it would have never, the stuff he did, I wish he would have never done, but it didn't start until 5 months after my children and I got out of that house and moved to a different state. So he did not start his shit until my family was fully on in safety, which is a wonderful thing. Yeah. But that was 100% my intuition telling, like, I almost vomited. But this is where your monkey brain kicks in. And you think, especially women, and I am one of you, and I love you so much, but we have been so brainwashed by rom-coms, it's not even funny. Because in my mind, I was like, oh my God, our first kiss almost blew me away. Like, I almost passed out. It was just so powerful. Oh my God. This guy is like the man of my dreams. And he, like, literally swept me off my feet to a park bench. Oh my God. No. Yeah. It was 100. Like, looking back now, I'm like, oh fuck. You almost vomit when you kiss somebody. That is an energy exchange that your body is like, fuck no, fuck no, fuck no.
Yeah, you literally trying to reject it.
Literally trying to reject it. So that is 100%, and that sticks in my mind every time I go to have another, like, or something else happens almost to that powerful level. I'm like, all right, I'm listening. What are we doing? Where are we going? I am 100% listening now, because I could have avoided so much fucking pain in my life and my children's lives. If I would have listened to my gut, if I would have gotten back to my house and been like, why did I almost puke? Let me figure this out. And then been like, you know what? I'm going to go with my gut on this one. Almost puking after a first kiss is bad. It is not a rom-com. Let me go ahead and run in the opposite direction. And how much pain would I have saved myself, you know? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, that's that discernment right there. That's perfect example. Yeah. No, you know, and the thing is gals, I love you too. But I've also been there, right? And I mean, this I guess this is a good example of the stakes were not nearly as high with this person, but I did date a guy for a while between my divorce and when Mike and I got together, and like, it's like I just knew like it wasn't going to go anywhere, and I still tried to push it. And he ended up cheating on me, and like his friend told me about it, and there was this whole thing, and I'm like, why would you do that? And it's like I could totally see from a human behavior perspective why he did all the things that he did, and why I did all the things that I did. And if I had just freaking listened to my intuition after the first date or so, it was just kind of like, I mean, it's okay. It's good, but it's not great. I could have saved myself several months of a relationship. I mean, we were only together for like 4 months, but still.
Yep.
So yeah, we need to be more discerning with people in our romance life. And so if you're listening and that strikes a nerve, please know that is given to you with love. And yes. We've all been there. Yeah.
And from hard lessons learned from 2 women who've been there, done that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Any other intuition stories or thoughts?
No, I mean, for me, I was always that, before I could figure out what intuition was, I was that person that would open up her mouth and weird shit would come out. You know, like,
yep.
So, and my friends got to the point where at least they would be like, why would you say that? What? Never mind. Hold on. Morgan just said we should not do that. You know? Like,
but honestly.
Because sometimes that's how it would just, you know, like we would just be sitting there and I would just kind of go off and then be like, we shouldn't do this tonight. And they'd be like, what? And I'd be like, what? I don't know. What did I just say?
Wow.
So yeah. If it starts out like that, or, you know, if you end up with things like that, completely normal. Completely normal to just get those weird, and that's how you start to build, you know, that trust. And the more evidence you build to support your intuition, then the more you'll trust it in the future, because you'll be like, oh shit, I remember what happened last time. We're going this direction now.
Yeah. And like, remember that it is in our bones and our blood and our ancestors to include intuition in our lives, because our ancestors really had to rely on it. Like, if you go all the way back, where, you know, you're just out in the middle of nature, there's maybe an enemy, you know, group nearby, or dangerous animals, or you need to find where the new fish are hanging out in the stream. Like, this is ancient wisdom. And our intuition is fueled by that as well. So it's fueled by our spiritual practice, the current moment, but there's also this long thread that, you know, we've brought up from our great-grandparents and before. So it's natural and normal, as wacky as it may feel. It is natural and normal.
Yep.
So yeah. Well, I have a card for us.
Yay!
Let's see what weird shit comes up. Whoa! One jumped out, so let's see. Okay, so what celebrity that you've never met do you think would annoy the pants off of you at a dinner party? Who would be an annoying celebrity that you've never met?
I don't know how many celebrities I've actually met in my life, so basically I just like that they put what celebrity that you haven't met, and I'm like,
it's like, make sure you know that they're not already annoying. Like,
okay.
Make sure that you don't know.
I'm gonna make some people. I might make some people upset with this one.
Why don't you pick the same person I'm thinking of?
No, Ariana Grande, man.
Oh yeah.
I can't. I don't know what So I've had a small thing against her since she licked the donuts when she was dating Pete Davidson, and she just thought she could lick donuts in a donut place. But then, like, the whole Pete Davidson thing was pretty shitty, and then she had an ex commit suicide because of her or something. But now she's all Miss Perfect because of Wicked.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can you choose a personality, please? Because this ain't working for me. And I just feel like she would annoy the piss. I feel like she would start talking and my eyes would just roll so far back in my head, because I'm like, do you even know who you are? Or does anything that you say, is any of it true? Or you just, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Ariana Grande. She's beautiful voice. Yeah. And I loved her on Victorious. I watched Victorious with my daughter. Love that show. She was so quirky on that. I think she would annoy the piss out of me in real life.
Yeah, I get that. Like, with love, because I think I think she's had some like abuse experience between then and now, but also, I don't think she knows who she is.
Yeah.
I really don't. And that's, that would kind of annoy me.
Yeah.
My answer is Ryan Reynolds. I feel like in real life he would be so annoying.
Yeah.
Seriously. In real life, like that really dry sense of humor would, I think, feel like he was an asshole. Like I think it would just get irritating.
I love him, but I'm not convinced he's not an asshole though. That's the whole thing. Like I think he used to not be.
Yeah, I think he is now though.
But I think he's changed too as well. So that's one of those things. I would love to meet Ryan Reynolds, but then I'm also scared because I'm like, oh, are you going to be an asshole?
Right. Well, and I've always kind of thought, like, would it be difficult to be around, like, I mean, I know he's dead, but like Robin Williams, like, would that get tiresome? Or Jim Carrey, would that get tiresome? And it's like you would see them interviewed, and it's like, no, they know how to be not their persona in real life. Like, they can have a good conversation. And I just feel like Ryan Reynolds would just take the sarcasm too far in real life.
I do have to say, so we're Wrexham fans. I don't know if you watch the Wrexham thing. We started watching Wrexham because Ryan Reynolds had bought a football team.
Right.
We continued to watch Wrexham because of Rob McElhenney. He is amazing. I love him even more now. He is now way above Ryan Reynolds on my list. Like his whole personality, all of it is amazing. So for that to happen, just even in a show about them buying a football team, in England, that shift happened for me. And I was like, okay, I love Rob McElhenney now.
Yeah. I love that. No, he seems really cool.
Mm-hmm.
He seems really cool. No, here's one. Here, I can say this now. Okay, so several years ago, so I live outside of a college town. I live outside of Denton, Texas, and for several years, for a while there, they would have. So there's South by Southwest in Austin every year. Well, you come down from like Chicago and up north down 35. And so Denton would do North by Southwest or North by Denton. And so we would get a bunch of musicians and actors and all that, like come in like the week before South by, and they would perform and all of that. It has gone by the wayside. However, I did encounter a celebrity during this time. I was in one of our local hangouts. It wasn't super busy, and none other than Danny Masterson was there, who played Hyde in that 70s show, who is currently serving time for abusing women. I did not interact with it. Like a friend of mine, a dude, was just like, oh, it's so cool. And I'm just like, I want nothing to do with him. Like, and I loved that 70s show.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I thought Danny Masterson was so cute, all the things like, oh, he's the guy I would have dated, on that show. Right. But like being in person with him, like, I was just like, nope, I'm going to just ignore him because like, and I was like really close to him. And I think like we all like kind of said hi to him and he said hi to us and all that, but I was just like, no. So it surprised me not a single bit when the allegations came out against him. I'm like, oh, that tracks. Yeah.
Oh, and that's even an intuition story too, because you just like
it is.
Yeah, the only one I've had is I was fortunate enough to see a Linkin Park Chris Cornell opened for them.
Oh, cool.
Concert that will never happen ever again.
Yeah.
Chris Court, and I was able to he was doing an interview on one of the radio stations, and so we got front row right next to where he was doing the interview. And I can say without a doubt that when he was doing his opening, they sang a song that him and Pearl Jam, it was Hunger Strike by Temple of the Dog, but Chester Bennington had come out on stage and sang with Chris Cornell.
Yeah.
I will, thank God, always remember it. But there's a sadness to both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as when we got really close to Chris Cornell, when he was doing the interview, I was just like, I wanted to cry. Like there was,
wow.
and I still to this day, I personally don't believe that he committed suicide. I think it was an accident. I mean, Chester Bennington did, but I don't believe Chris Cornell did. I think it was an accident that he hung himself, but there's still a sadness about both of them, like having been close to both of them live, like at a live performance.
Yeah.
There was just, there was an aura of gloom around both of them.
Wow.
So that's the only thing I've ever, and that was just like a concert type thing. So
interesting. Wow.
Yeah. But no, Danny Masterson.
Oh yeah. Like, oof. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, that's a good intuition story. Thank you, cards. Because I totally forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I've met other celebrities kind of in passing or been like really close to their shows and everything, and I've never felt anything like that. But I believe the sadness around Bennington and Cornell. And I love both those guys. Oh my God. I was so sad when Chris Cornell passed. I was crushed.
Yeah.
I'm done. Can't do anything else for the rest of the day or the rest of the week. I have to just like sit in my room and listen to music.
Yep. That's what I did.
So, yep. I know. Our guys. Well, love this topic and this conversation is awesome. Folks can find us online. Send us your stories, your podcast episode recommendations. We got one of those. So next week you'll be hearing about that. Or your Witchy Confessions. What did we say last time for the Witchy Confessions? We wanted spells that worked really well or didn't work at all.
Yeah.
I think. So send those to us at TwoWitchesTalkingPod at gmail.com. Find us on Instagram and I guess we're just on Instagram at Two Witches Talking, and you can find us on YouTube. Watch these full videos on either our Patreon or on YouTube under the Ancient Goddess Creation account. Just go find podcast. Right now our Patreon is completely free. It is Two Witches Talking. And we get some fun comments over there, and every once in a while, I'll put a poll up or something. So feel free to join there as well. I think that's it.
That's all.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. This has been great. Thanks so much for listening, y'all. And we will see you next week.
Bye.